The last lecture, please. It's a joint lecture for olfaction and taste because these areas are done together and they are related to each other and very simple. So we'll finish the physiology of olfaction and gustation, which is taste, together. We'll begin with olfaction. Our objective is to do the physiology of olfaction. I added few slides for the taste also because it will give you an idea about the taste physiology, which is very simple and very easy. And do it together. Olfaction, anatomy, done. It's all about nose. The mucous membrane of the nose, which is lining inside of the nasal cavity, has a specialization in the upper part, you know that. Okay? It is specialized and it changes. The color changes, it is pale in color and the characteristics histologically also change. And this area is called the olfactory membrane or the olfactory nasal epithelium. It is over the medial surface, over the roof and on the lateral part also. A little area is there on both sides, in both nostrils, we know that. Well, that is the olfactory membrane. That is the area where the receptors of olfaction for smell are located. Okay. Now, smell is one of the special senses. You know about the receptors also, that receptors in these areas are neurons, a very special type of neurons. Okay? Yani, the neuron itself is acting as a receptor. Alright? In eye, if you remember, in vision, you have rods and cones which are separate receptors. Then they are communicating with the bipolar cells and the ganglion cells, you know the whole story. Well, you have done hearing and equilibrium also. In the hearing, you have specialized hair cells as receptors, but those hair cells were not neurons. Okay, those were the receptors. And they synapse with the afferent nerve fibers at the bases. Right? In equilibrium, the same story. Hair cells and synapsing with the afferent fibers. Look at smell now. Smell has bipolar neurons which are present in the mucosa. Well, that is something very strange. A neuron, موجود itself, neuron, the cell body of the neuron is present in the mucosa. You don't find this kind of situation elsewhere, isn't it? So we regard that the olfactory neurons are some of the neurons which are very, very close to the external world. If you see, they are in contact with the air directly. They are exposed in the nasal epithelium. They are different from other neurons. Okay? They are behaving as receptors, they are acting as neurons, and yet look at their location. This location is so close to the external world, isn't it? The sense of olfaction is a very primitive sense in animals, generally speaking, and animals have to rely on that sense. Well, we as humans have sense of smell, but it is not as good and as sharp as the sense of smell of animals, you know that. We use two words for the sense of smell for animals and humans we represent. One word is, I'll write here. Okay. Macrosomatic. Microsmatic. Macrosmatic and microsmatic are the terms, okay? Macrosmatic animals are those animals who have a very sharp and keen sense of smell, okay? Example, dogs. Example, bear. Smelling from miles really, okay, the fumes which are coming or the molecules in the air. The dogs and bear, they have a great ability, kilometers really, okay, away and over the wind. If the molecules are coming, we can't do that. Okay. So are we microsmatics or macrosmatics? What do you think? Okay. We have, our membrane is little, our receptors are less in number, and their receptors, in dogs we believe that receptors are up to a number of billions in some of the dog species, the number of receptors in this area of the, because they have to rely on their sense of smell for their survival, for their nutrition, and for their protection. So animals are different really. We are different. We do depend on sense of smell for few things only, but we are not really dependent on that. Our life is not essentially dependent on the sense of smell. Even if sense of smell is not there, it's not the end of the life for us. It will not cause any difficulty in survival for us. It will change the quality of the life definitely. We cannot smell many things, and we cannot taste things perfectly, because if the smell is not modular, which sense is affected? The taste. Okay, your zawq is affected actually. This happens. When you have shadid zukam, a very bad common cold, when the nose is stuffed and you cannot smell anything for days, if you eat the same food which you love, you will not have the same taste of that food. It is decreased. You say, "Hey, it's not like that. The life is not the same really." Okay, why? There is a difference, because your smell gives you the flavor of that taste. Okay, the final flavor, the final end result of what you feel, the pleasure in your mind, it comes through the smell also, and smell is giving a big contribution to the taste also, isn't it? So taste is not complete without the smell. You can taste things, but the whole flavor of something, a complex flavor, all the ingredients are not there which can be felt by or perceived by your mind. Okay, so we are microsmatics and animals are macrosmatics, and it is valid point really, okay, because they need that. We don't need that. Animals, for their mating, sexual desires, and in the sexual seasons when they want to mate, when they want to reproduce, okay, they depend on the smell, the scent of the female, the scent of the male really. In humans we claim it to some extent, but it doesn't really work. Okay, it's nothing like that. It's a typical scent of a female that is giving you an arousal or a sexual desire. It's not like that in humans. Okay, it's not that. Okay? So it doesn't work with the humans. Those substances which are used in the animals, the female animals secrete some substances, and these substances come in the fumes, in the form of fumes in the air, and from miles away the male animal can catch in the reproductive season, and they can directionalize themselves for the mating really. They can reach each other. So it is, these are called the pheromones, a special hormone like substances, pheromones are there. But it's not about humans. We don't do that. Okay, we depend on our intellect, our psychological makeup, our personality, on all these features. Okay, that is something different. Give me a second please.